At the Quartermain Forces, James asks Cody if he can wear his buckaroo chapeau while they go riding. Cody says he can't see with that on, and after his accident a while agone, he has to wear a helmet. He also surprises him with a chapeau just like his but sized for James. Latterly, Cody and James return from their lift, and Cody tells James he looks great out there and can't stay until his grandparents see him. James suddenly becomes down, and Cody asks what's wrong. James doesn't understand why Grandpa Mac was so frenetic at him. Cody thinks Grandpa Mac was sad about the time they didn't get to spend together when he was a sprat, and he was also frenetic because he prevaricated about commodity big. He says it wasn't fair to Grandpa Mac. James admits he has prevaricated ahead and later, generally feels bad and regrets it. Cody knows how he feels. At home and heart, Lucy tells Natalia this will be Lois' first appearance on camera dealing their products. Lois' makeup is finished, and she asks Brooke Lynn if she looks too demure. Brooke Lynn says she looks great and asks if she's nervous. Lois is and realizes she doesn't have her earrings because the makeup artist took them. She goes to find them, only to hear the artist complaining about Lois' accentuation and voice to a colleague. Tracy speaks with Maxie about Sunny's investment and forcing Natalia on them. Maxie is okay with Sunny's investment and points out that Natalia was veritably scrupulous in Blaze's contract accommodations, which is what they should want in a CFO. Brooke Lynn checks in with her mama and can smell she has weird energy all of unforeseen. Lois admits she has stage fright thanks to someone calling her accentuation ridiculous. Brooke Lynn says she'll go to Haven and make sure whoever talked about her is transferred to the late night shift. Lois doesn't want to get anyone in trouble. Brooke Lynn tells her nothing at Deception has a problem with how she speaks, and she'll be great. The director, played by Debbie Matinopoulos, comes over and tells Lois they're ready for her. Lois thinks she looks familiar, and the director says she's been on television for times, but now prefers to be behind the camera. Haven arrives, and Tracy reflections to Maxie that she's not sure Lois is right for this. Tracy fears Lois may overwhelm their followership with her energy. Maxie disagrees and says this should have been raised weeks ago. Not moments before Lois goes on camera. As Brooke Lynn encourages her mama, she notices one of her nails is broken. Lois freaks out, as there's no time to fix it. Haven also calls Lois up to the stage, and she freezes on camera. Haven tries to steer Lois on selling the products. Lois is vocally spoken and has little emotion in her voice. She's robotic as she tries to vend Deception's newest product, the Deceiver. Ultimately, Lois lightens up and begins to promote the products with ease. Lucy admits to the others it was a rocky launch, but Lois is doing great. Lucy gets a communication from Scott, who has gone out of city, and rushes off to call him. Meanwhile, Maxie tells Natalia that she just got an earful from Tracy about her, so she wants to hear from her. Maxie wants to know what Sunny promised her other than this job. Natalia says he offered her nothing other than a reason not to run out of city. Natalia says she's been looking over the books, and Maxie is the heart of this company. Natalia states she's then to help her and support her. She also wants to get Sunny a good return on his investment. Maxie smiles. Latterly, Haven and Lois take calls from the followership. A woman tells Lois she needs to lose the accentuation, as she had to mute her television when she was on. She complains Deception won't be dealing much of anything with that voice as a profit. Tracy, Lucy, Natalia, Maxie and Brooke Lynn are stupefied. Away in Port Charles, Molly and TJ stand at the head of the church where their baby's Paul is. Alexis, Sam, temporarily played by Lindsay Hartley, and Christina come in, and Christina breaks into gashes when she sees the Paul. Marshall and Stella arrive, so TJ goes over to see them. Molly rushes out when she sees Christina leaning on their mama. Outdoors, she's surprised by her father, Rick. They embrace. She had no idea he was coming. He explains that he and Alexis talked and agreed he demanded to be then. She's glad he's then as she feels so alone. Back outside, Christina approaches the Paul with Sam, Dante and Michael. Christina comments they shouldn't have to make Pauls this small. Sam checks in with her mama, and Alexis tells her that Rick is then. Meanwhile, Christina reveals she called her baby Adele, which is Sunny's mama's name. Portia and Curtis check in on Jordan, who admits this is hitting her harder than she anticipated. Meanwhile, the clerk asks Sam and Alexis if they should start the services, but Sam says the mama isn't there. The clerk assumes Christina is the mama, and Alexis corrects him. Rick and Molly also enter the church. TJ thanks Rick for coming, and Sam tells Alexis that Rick did commodity right for formerly, though he generally makes effects worse. Alexis thinks it's a good thing Sunny isn't then. Everyone takes their seats, and the clerk speaks about the loss they're grieving and how they're mourning what could have been. The clerk asks Jordan to come up and give a reading, but suddenly, Christina walks up and says she has commodity to say. Rick looks at Molly, who's fuming. Christina says indeed though they didn't get to meet Irene, she did have an impact, and they got to know her for 8 months. Christina cries that for 8 months she participated every alternate with her. She learned about what she liked and didn't like. She loved walks in the premises, peanut adulation, and being sung to. Christina cries that indeed though Irene is gone, her memory, her impact, will stay with her and she hopes with all of them ever. Molly is in gashes. Stella speaks coming and hopes TJ and Molly find peace in the family they ask. She also tells Christina they're thankful to her for carrying Irene, who would have gone far in this life. Stella takes comfort in the fact that Irene is in the hands of her namesake, her family. The clerk says they'll now move to the gravesite to place Irene in her final resting place. TJ, Molly and Rick stand, and Christina breaks down. Molly is easily annoyed by her family's bawling. Meanwhile, Willow tells Michael she doesn't suppose she can attend the burial, so they decide to visit Jonah's grave. As people file out, Trina remains behind to suppose. Joss asks Trina if she can sit with her, and Trina nods. Joss hates how they left effects, and Trina apologizes for being protective. Trina says Ava is her friend, but Joss is her stylish friend. Joss knows she has no right to tell her who she can and can't be musketeers with. Trina understands why she feels the way she does about Ava. Trina calls her complicated but says that she still has stopgap for Ava. Meanwhile, Dante gets a communication from Laura. He tells Sam that he has to go, it's Lulu. Dante says he'll let her know more when he gets there. In the cemetery, Willow tells Michael that Christina's speech was touching and made all the passions she had for Jonah come back. It's hard loving someone you can't have, speaking about giving Jonah up for relinquishment. Michael also suffered for Jonah, and thinks he brought them together as a family. Michael says she can partake anything with him, as they're in this together. Willow looks like she's overcome with guilt but only tells Michael that Jonah liked Mozart. At the gravesite, the family places roses on Irene's grave. Everyone gives their condolences to TJ and Molly, as Christina appears numb to what's passing. TJ and Molly put a teddy bear on the grave. They tell her that Mommy and Daddy love her. Molly also goes over to Rick, who embraces her. Christina is the last to put a rose down and says, "I love you, my sweet Adele." Molly hears this and asks, "What did you call my son?" Christina says they just named her this morning, and she had to call her commodity. Christina cries that Molly will no way understand what it's like to carry a child, which causes Molly to snap. Molly refuses to live the rest of her life with her family playing this grieving Madonna act. Christina says it's not an act, and she's devastated too. Molly tells her that she should be, as she's the reason her son is dead. Christina asks Molly how she can say that. Molly yells she should have defended her son, she should no way have gone to defy Ava. She accuses Christina of immolating her son's life to cover her felonious father. At the gallery, Sunny tells Ava he's then to save her life, so let's go. She refuses to go anywhere with him. Sunny tells her that Jagger wants to end her life, not him. He explains that Jagger is going to kill her and try and frame him. He needs her alive to do the right thing for Christina and her baby when the time comes. Ava thinks John wouldn't hurt her, but Sunny tells her that the statement she made makes her a liability to Jagger, who's using her. Ava doesn't know why she should believe him when he'd kill her if given the chance. Sunny tells her she has to trust him. Ava is buying what Sunny's selling. Sunny tells her that she needs to renounce her statement as they do have important time. Suddenly, Dainties shows up and orders Sunny to get down from Ava. Dainties tells Ava they should go, but Sunny says Ava's safer with him than with Jagger. Dainties suppositions Sunny offered Ava his protection, but everyone he tries to cover ends up worse off, just like Karen, Stone and numerous others. He calls Sunny poisonous, and Ava knows that. Dainties calls in a fellow agent, Agent Linda Boyle. He tells Ava they're taking her into defensive guardianship. Sunny tells Ava not to do it, she knows he's right. Dainties tells Ava this is necessary. The womanish agent walks Ava out. Ava appears upset.